Hi, this is YouTube librarian on Patreon, like Jay Davensky. I got permission from the publisher to read Malola's Museum Adventures Career Day. So why don't we go ahead and work with it? This is by Joel Avellino. Malola loved the art museum. It was her favorite place to go. She always ran through the big new exhibitions until she found her favorite room at the very back. It was her own little corner of the world, a place where she could talk about her day had been, or what new toy she had got, or sometimes even belt out her favorite song. Paintings are, after all, the best listeners. One day at school, Malola's teacher set them a task. Today, I'd like you to write about one thing you would like to be when you grow up and present it to the class tomorrow. Malola looked at her friends all scribbling away. Confused, she thought to herself, what if there's more than one thing I want to be? Or even more things I don't know about yet? As soon as she finished school, she ran to her favorite place. Maybe she could find some help there. She sat and gazed up at a portrait of a woman who always reminded her of her Nana. Heaving a big sigh, she asked, what will I be when I grow up? To her surprise, the painting responded, my name is Sofia Jamagira. You've shared many things with us, paintings over the years. Maybe I could share some of our world with you. Let me show you all the things you can be. With her eyes wide in shock, Malola looked up into Sophia's familiar face and followed her into the painting. Through the world of thick paint and bright brush strokes, Sophia led her towards a gentle-looking woman confidently giving a talk to thousands. Didn't you love leading songs at the school assembly? What if you led a nation like Sahle-Work Zewde, the first female president of Ethiopia? She could get used to being the center of attention, and maybe if she were a leader like the president, she could use her power to serve the people and make the world a better place. Sophia led her to the next frame. Or maybe you can lead in the classroom like Professor Mama Gethi Pakeng. She's an advocate dedicated to making education more accessible. I do love school. It would be so great to share that joy with even more kids like me. Sophia led her to another frame, busy with cars speeding past. Remember when you stood up to those bullies at school? You were so confident and bold, just like Adna Niada, a brave and fearless taxi driver. Despite being turned away for being a woman, Edna created her own taxi company and now encourages more women to challenge the idea of jobs meant only for men. Malola remembered what it was like to stand up to others who told her she could not do something. It did feel good to show them she was capable of anything they were. Plus, driving to lots of new places would be so interesting. Drive and see the Chobe National Park or the butterflies of Central Africa Republic, or stop by the Grand Bassam Beach. You spend so much time questioning everything. What about using your curiosity to be like Rebecca Inon-Chong? She's now a tech whiz, but she used to stay up all night taking computers apart to know exactly how they function inside. Did you know Rebecca is also dedicated to helping young tech whizzes start their own companies? Or you could be like Baratag Mia. Her curiosity led her to teaching herself how to code. She now teaches other girls just like you. Malala did love being on the computer. She imagined the symbols flowing around her, teaching her their language. Will you stand up for what you are passionate about, like Nima Namadamu? She fights for the rights of women and disabled people. Her work planted a seed in her village and empowers and educates the women in her community. I want to help others, Malala said. She loved the idea of standing up for her community and of being a part of something bigger than herself. I have seen you drawing many times at the museum. Perhaps you could use your creativity to express yourself visually. Like Dina Akanga, she creates images using a hammer and nails. It takes real skill to build a delicate image from such strong materials. Malala did enjoy using her hands and capturing real life. The many visions that danced through her head. Why not express yourself through writing like Ellen Banda Aku? She's written many children's books and novels, and she encourages children to express themselves through literature. The library was Malala's favorite place, second only to the museum, of course. All those experiments you do in the garden take a lot of perseverance. You may find you have this in common with Chido Govera. She learned how to farm mushrooms and teaches people all around the world. She did love nurturing all of her plants in the garden. Malala, whatever you choose to do, remember we are always growing, and with growth comes change. So whatever you choose, know that you can always re-choose again and again. I knew I'd get answers here, she thought to herself as she waved goodbye to the painting. The next day at school, Malala stood bulbing in front, class full of excitement as she shared all the wonderful things she would be. There are so many things I want to be when I grow up, and I know, so long as I'm courageous and believe in myself, I can be anything and everything. So this book was first published in 2022 by order of the Tate Trustees by Tate Publishing, a division of Tate Enterprises in London. And I contacted them and they gave me permission to read from it. I also contacted Moody Publishers and got a chance to work with Virtual Reality Church. But part of me would like to work with something that I haven't worked with yet, a comic book. Harley Quinn's The Trial of Harley Quinn. I have not gotten permission yet to work with it, but I kind of want to work with it. The Trials of Harley Quinn Metamorphosis. Someone call an exterminator. Harley Quinn 16. I was trapped and alone. Hunted. No way out. Finally, and freaking out because maybe, just maybe, I made it. I ain't got what it takes to survive this mess. Yeah, eat this, scuzzballs. If I had to be slaughtered by a horde of aliens, couldn't they at least be cute or something? Alert. Interdimensional breach confirmed in the control room. Activate quarantine protocols. Pretty much an hour ago, things got crazy really fast when you're Harley Quinn. I know what you're thinking. I'm supposed to have turned over a new leaf to be a good guy so I can sell action figures in Hot Topic. Well, let's just say old dogs die hard, or is it? You can teach a new habit, old tricks. Anyway, I'm not just breaking the law for kicks. I'm doing it for a good cause. I'm here to steal some fancy cancer fight stuff. It's for my mom. 2 hours before that, yes, a flashback and a flashback. Very artsy, know. Harley, do not do anything crazy. Under no circumstances are you to break into that lab and try to steal fancy cancer fighting stuff from me. Whatever you say, Mom. My mom's a fighter, but I gotta do what I can to even odds, tell him. MC on a weekend. Did the scientific echoes discover the elusive work-life balance? Alert, huh? What's that? I didn't do it. Quit judging me. Interdimensional breach. Confirmed. Activate quarantine protocols. Report to control room. Croc alarm. Ye Ikes. Croc alarm. Hey, Oathman says to me, let me out of here. You can't do this to me. I'm all alone. Back to Taloja, things go to heck real quick. There was no way out. The whole building sealed. All I had were high-tech guns, scavenged from about. When they died, I'd be empty-handed. I was starving. There was alien blood squishing around in my boots. And I was so damn tired. Because I didn't know I was fighting more than just a horde of aliens. Didn't know they wanted more than my blood. But I did know I was fighting for my life. And I was losing. Ha ha ha. Repeat. Boo! Hello, Puddin' Yog. What the frog, Mr. Joker, what the hell are you doing here? And since when do you call me Puddin', Chalk? Are you really letting a bunch of flimsy insectoids kick your caboose? When did Job become such a cream puff? Hi. I made it this far, didn't I? Give me some credit. Sorry, I forgot you are allergic to giving compliments. As long as you're here, grab a gun and help me get out of here. Hey, wait, Joker, stop. You gonna catch me or you gonna done being embarrassed for the day? No, wait, stay close to me, you idiot. I mean, what do I care if you rip your face? I mean, it's dangerous. Oof. Danger. Batman! Quinn, I got your message. I'm here to help. Lucky for you, Batman always wins. Sweet, sassy, and molassy, I am so glad to see you. And under the circumstances, I'm temporarily willing to suspend my grudge on you for disappearing on me back in Gotham without saying a proper goodbye as long as you don't do it again. Anyway, you got any disgusters spraying about. Every creature has a weakness. I shall exploit that weakness and then make you feel stupid about it. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't send out a message. I'm chopping. Why are you talking like you're from Brooklyn, you Gotham gashead? Did you know I am the world's greatest detective? I am the night. Screech. Back off, villain. Rah. Screech. Back. No, hang on. Cock. Back. Where'd y'all go? You alone? Please don't leave me alone again. Holly, Pumpkin, I need your help. Wow. Why the hell are you here? Harley? I don't know. Where are we? I'm scared. It's okay, Mom. I'm here. I got you. I've been scared too, but you're gonna do this. I just think we need some help to get out of it before I don't. Oh, Mom. Not my mom's time. I can't deal with it. I'm freaked out, and I can't deal, and I need help. Yes, you can. Or your name is Harley Quinn. Hey now. If you ain't Miranda, I won't hesitate to blow you to pizza slime. If you are Miranda, I might just destroy you anyway. It's another stupid trial. The trials aren't artificial challenges. They are woven inextricably into your actual life. It was your love for your mom that brought you here. It was the scientists at STAR Labs that created this mess. The Lords of Chaos and Order just took advantage of the situation to test you and see if you're making a great angel of retribution. Listen, sweetie, I'm just about furious enough to retribution your butt all the way back to outer space. What the hell are you testing for anyway? My threshold for extraterrestrial slaughter, I'm done. I don't make the challenges, and I don't make the rules. The lords of chaos and order do. I mean, I told them, hey, maybe think about making these trials a smidge less brutal and savage. But yeah, that's how they like them, I guess. Even if it means all our previous candidates got killed before the final, I guess it did weed out some stinkers. No, you're not going to end up massacring like the rest of them. I believe in you. You're Harleen Quinzel. You're the man now, dog. Hold up. You mean these trials could be lethal? I can't believe I just got You're the man now, dog. You let me waltz into these trials without warning me I could get murdered? That's not the kind of thing you hide in the fine print, you scam artist. Getting turned into a bug is one of the things, but damn it, I love my life even when I don't, so I declare these trials to be null and void. Now, you don't bother to listen to it. You accepted, fair and square. You know, I first noticed you when you took on all of Apocalypse. I thought you had guts. I thought you had what it takes. Guess I was wrong. Girl, if I didn't need your help so bad, I'd pop you in that cute face for talking that way to me. Miranda. Miranda? Oh, just delightful. You swoop in, time to see me crying, read my filth, and then you disappear. Wow. I can insult you as well. Your teeth are too perfect. Dang, that's not it. Back the heck off of me. Miranda can't talk to me like I ain't no pushover. I took on Apocalypse and just like she said, heck, I survived a relationship with the Joker. I got more guts in my boot heel than she does in her entire family. Screw her and screw her bosses. I'm an American death machine. I'm going to survive this gory death trap, and I'm going to do it without the help of a little Miss Sunshine brat. Interdimensional breach confirmed. Activate quarantine protocols. Report to control room. Hang on. This is the control room. Help me, Harley. Help me, Harley. Help me, Harley. Help me, Harley. Oh, my sugar and timbers. Is that thing alive? Hey, hands off. I'm just Harley. I'm just trying to... Whoa. You are alive. You are in my brain, and you're seriously freaked out. Family? That's your family in space? Well, they're not much stranger than mine. There's like a quintillion of... Yeah, sheesh, I thought 3 brothers were plenty. Abducted. What? You just got ripped away and dumped in here? Of course you're so freaked out. Overreaction. All those bugs are your self-defense system. They're a part of you. You're terrified. That's why the bugs are so terrifying. I mean, I push people away all the time when I get scared to contact. Joker, Batman, Mom, and that. These cute but not as cute as the real thing versions. I mean, you made all those too. Based on memories that you pulled from my noggin, they're imperfect, but you were just trying to reach out to me, trying to say something. This ain't an invasion of demon scuzzballs after all. Please, you're trapped far from home. You're freaked out and you can't deal and you need help. Don't worry anymore. I'm going to get you home. Maybe. Interdimensional breach confirmed. I think activate quarantine protocol. Welcome to the control room. Shut up, okay? I'm trying to think. How can the idea of this? Please state your request. I can check your email, tell you the weather, look at report scores, how you can talk, and assist. I need to get the beautiful alien babe home. You wish to reverse the quantum incursion? Yes, sure, something like that. Activate the quantum reversal safeguard protocol. 3rd button on the left. What is that like? And do something like quantum reversal safeguard activated. In 3, 2, 1. Gratitude. She said thank you. And all those ugly, creepy crawlies, you ain't gonna find none of them in here. They disappeared. Oh, except for the corpses of the one I fragged. I know, I fragged a lot. Maybe I should pump the brakes something and just listen. I was so scared and terrified in there, I just don't realize that to help myself, I'd help someone else. It's a mess. I wasn't paying attention to what was happening. Yeah, like when you ignored me when I told you not to do this, and you go, yeah, I think you could make me some of your famous chicken wings. I'm really sorry. You're lucky they're not going to press charges. Breaking and entering, intent to steal classified materials, not to mention all the damage on property. They owe me for cleaning up that mess about starting a cosmic war with a race of super intelligent garbage fans. Ding. Hey, look it. My challenge bell. This means I did it. I got it. I passed the trial. I should show the golden Barbie who's got the guts. And maybe you should play reverse psychology and a reverse psychologist good one. Man, that trial was intense. They can't get crazier than that. I don't know what I was getting into at first, but I feel like I'm really getting the hang of these trials. So that was one comic book. I think what we should do is we should do a little bit of studying at this point. And hopefully that warmed us up a little bit to studying. To some extent, that is a library. And so I'm going to take a slightly librarian approach on Virtual Reality Church. I did get permission to work with this book for Moody Publishers. And what happened is I already started working with this, so we're going to keep looking at some of the notations. So for example, footnote 8 is by Eric Davis, Techno-Pagans, May the Astral Plane Be Reborn in Cyberspace. That was in Wired, July 1995. I mean, that sounds okay. 9, if you know what that means, is you might find that interesting. So, but keep in mind it's 1995, and that could be ancient history. 28 years later. Joshua Cooper Rama, Finding God on the Web. Across the internet, believers are re-examining their ideas of faith, religion, and spirituality. Time Magazine, December 16, 1996. Some things have clearly changed since 1996, such as when the author of the article expresses surprise and amazement that even sacred scripture is being rendered into hypertext. The article says, just as the first illuminated manuscripts exposed readers to early theological debates, these hypertexts open up thousands of interpretations of God's Word to anyone curious enough to click a mouse. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's interesting. But some priests might have a problem with that. 10, the Barna Group determined that by 2000, only 34% of Protestant churches had websites. By 2005, this number had jumped up to 57%. By 2010, email had become more or less ubiquitous, with about 90% of Christians having email address. Scott Thuma, virtually religious technology and internet use in American congregations. That was 2012 by Hartford. That could be interesting. Do you think that's slightly out of date, or do you think that's about how long it would take? Hello, Nina Fleury, welcome to worship. Click here. The Dallas Morning News. You know, I'm getting an email from a monastery. It could be considered a perfect Christian composition. Perfect. And it's the perfectly designed, and it's deployed, and there's a prayer request, and it has a very much a Christian flavor to it. And And they're using technology to get that email to me. And when I get it, occasionally I read it, and I'm almost sure that that's as good as it gets for Christianity. And it's being sent by monks from a monastery using email. And so they are up to date to some extent. 12, interview with Douglas Estes, Associate Professor of New Testament and Practical Theology at South University, Columbia, conducted by Jonathan J. Armstrong on October 4th, 2019. I don't know who Douglas Estes is, but 13, Douglas Estes, he wrote Sim Church, being the church in the virtual world, Grand Rapids. I find that very interesting. Have you ever played Sim? Very interesting. I have had 2 experiences with a virtual reality church. Using the HTC Vive Flow, there is one piece of software called the Holy City. It imagines a church in which you can go and pray with Jesus Christ relics. While that may not be true, what if you did want to go to a destination virtual reality church to pay homage to Jesus Christ? It's a work of the imagination to some extent, because they couldn't possibly have the relics, but it could be very satisfying to go to that virtual reality church, and then you have a chance to kind of pray there if that's what you would like to do. The other virtual reality experience is also quite impressive, and I only got the first chapter. I bought something called 7 Miracles, and in 7 Miracles, Jesus Christ is at the wedding, the famous wedding, in which he transforms water to wine, and you can actually see that experience. It's very memorable, probably comparable to the fruit from the Garden of Eden, because it looks very tasty. And both of those virtual reality experiences, one a reenactment of the wedding, famous wedding scene from the Gospels, and the other one being a work of imagination which imagines the relics of Jesus Christ, are in fact virtual reality church experiences. So it's quite impressive. It has been done to some extent. In this case, we have Sim Church. Sim Church, that could be it, you know. And then we have Patrick Dixon, Cyber Church, Christianity and Internet. With Second Life, the computer program, I had a chance to go to Unitarian Universalist church service. It was awesome. And then I followed up by meeting a minister at an internet service, and she said that she would eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I don't think it's a good idea, because then you would experience evil and become a victim. So you might want to be careful about that particular knowledge if you ever have a chance to eat from that tree of knowledge of good and evil. I doubt that you'll have a choice. You'll probably just be given it, the experience. But remember, evil is evil. So be careful when you say, as a minister, that you would eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But that's what she said she would do, and that was memorable. And so I'm able to talk about it right now. And then we have Dixon. We might conclude that while the internet can fulfill the condition of 2 or 3 gathering together in prayer, it is unlikely to fulfill the conditions for an assembly. But are we being too rigid here? If Jesus is present with 2 believers talking to each other, and praying on the telephone, and therefore in the midst of an internet voice call or a video link for similar purposes, also an internet relay chat prayer, then what is the situation with a large electronic gathering? I met a minister in my neighborhood in Rogers Park. He said that he actually experienced Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. That he feels the presence of Jesus. I don't know. I do have a slightly hard time with that. I'm almost sure that it was a recommendation to go on a diet. But while I might think it's a recommendation to go on a diet, for him, it's the presence of Jesus. And then we have Barna Research Group, the Cyber Church is Coming. National survey of teenagers shows expectation of substituting internet for corner church. What is for sure right now is there's a lot more opportunities, especially after the coronavirus pandemic, of having a live church experience. Live, meaning that the event is taking place and you can actually see it, the church service. The church I go to in this neighborhood does have a live broadcast, so it's possible to watch it at home if I go to the app. What else is there? So what do you think? Do you think that's pretty convincing? Because what we're doing is we're studying a little bit. And I want to suggest that these nonfiction books give you the opportunity to study. And in this particular case, we're not getting a C. A C is almost like a command statement. And because of the command statement, I checked out the Devil's Music, How Christians Inspired, Condemned, and Embraced Rock and Roll from the Chicago Public Library. And I also put on order another book, Creating Church Online, Ritual Community, and New Media. Because it was less than $10, I put it in my Amazon cart. And those were the beginnings of the chapter that I was given explicit permission to work with. 25, the conclusions. Barna region indeed seem puzzling when one review the actual data cited. For example, Barna reported only 12% of the adult population in the U.S. used the internet each month for religious purposes, stating the most common of these purposes is to interact with others via chat rooms or email about religious ideas, beliefs, or experiences. Further, only 9% of teenagers reported using the internet every day, and only 4% of teenagers reporting the internet to pursue religious or spiritual experiences. I'm not sure if that's true. That seems a little bit too small. 1 out of 16, 60% said that within the next 5 years they expect to use the internet as a substitute for their current church-based religious experience. Church-based religious experience. That particular phrase might be very important. And so if you have something called a church-based religious experience, which we call going to church, then virtual reality church could be not necessarily what someone is looking for. But let's say it's Sunday or Friday night, and you have a chance and you want to have a church experience. Would you consider it? There are, in fact, 20 million owners of MetaQuest 2 and 5 million owners of PlayStation VR, which isn't relevant necessarily, except you might be thinking that God is responsible for virtual reality, because how would it even be possible? And have an attitude of religiosity or awe or respect for what you're experiencing. In other words, to some extent, the church, especially the Catholic Church, was awesome, was very impressive. Whether it's the Rockefeller, which isn't a Catholic church, in Hyde Park, and that awesomeness can be experienced with virtual reality. So if religious if, when you say, I'm having a religious experience, it feels religious to me. There's a religiosity to that experience. And if that experience is your sense of awe, inside of a church, then to some extent, virtual reality can produce that sense of awe and that sense of mystery. How is this possible? Who is responsible for this? How could a human being create this experience? And so you could say that whether it's on the one hand the awesomeness of the church, on the other hand, who is responsible for this experience? How is it possible for a human being to create it? And because of that, virtual reality should be considered from a religious perspective, unless it wants to market itself as a gaming experience, because that would be better for business. So to some extent, virtual reality is awesome, and we don't know how human beings did it. And so I don't think you should dismiss it, but you have to understand, to the extent in which this phrase is true, church-based religious experience. That could be, I'm a little bit different. I have a Jewish background. I may have a Bible-based perspective. To me, it all starts with Genesis in the Bible. And the evidence of that is 5 billion copies of the Bible having been produced and distributed, which is awesome as well, because you can go from 5 billion Bibles to 200 million copies of the Book of Mormon, or Agatha Christie, or Harry Potter, or Lord of the Rings, or Tale of Two Cities. And there's a huge difference between 5 billion and 200 million. So to me, and to almost everyone who has the church experience, it is Bible-based, but what if it's not just Bible-based, which it is to who? The priest. It's Bible-based. So to some extent, I'm kind of like the priest, because to me it's Bible-based. It's, Genesis-based. It's Gospels-based. It's on the other hand, what if it's a church as a building experience? You see how, to some extent, there's a difference between the Bible as a book experience, the church as a building experience, and virtual reality as a head-mounted audiovisual display experience. So, and that could be controversial. Like, on the one hand, you're supposed to focus on the book, On the other hand, there is a building. And now there's a head-mounted audiovisual display. So do you see how there's a difference between the book and the church as a building, the book and the church, and virtual reality as a head-mounted audiovisual display experience? And so I would still say, to some extent, there's a certain awesomeness and ideology at work there that would suggest that you could have a religious experience. You could, with virtual reality, you could say that it's akin to religion, but it isn't necessarily the church as building or the Bible as religion. And this is what we're talking about here, virtual reality church. What that means is a church service, probably, or a Bible adaptation inside of virtual reality. How good could they be with the Bible as an adaptation? Incredible. I've seen animations of that would, I've seen stuff you wouldn't believe in virtual reality. I mean, just amazing. And so one way to do that would be to do a Bible story adaptation. And you would be like, oh, that was a religious experience. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Sometimes I'm not sure whether you should stick. What I would like to do, what I would do with Judaism is probably book discussion groups. What I would do with Christianity, more than that even, I would be faithful to Judaism in the sense of working with Jewish authors and artists. With Christianity, I'm very interested in Christianity as a teaching method for a kind of Confucius-esque experience. In other words, I would like you to walk out of my church having memorized something that Jesus said. Yes. If you can walk out the door having memorized something Jesus said, I would consider myself to be successful in promoting the most famous man on earth, or the most famous Israeli guy on earth. Because Jesus Christ is probably the most famous man on earth. And he happens to be an Israeli guy. And that's important to me because to some extent, the Judeo-Christian Muslim experience is important to me because I have a Middle Eastern phenotype. I was born in Israel, and I have a Jewish background. And so because of that, the Judeo-Christian Muslim experience is important to me. I like it because it did for me everything it was strong enough. The Judeo-Christian Muslim experience was strong enough to give me a good self-esteem as a Middle Eastern Jewish person born in Israel. The church, the synagogue, and the mosque were strong enough force in this world that I have a good self-esteem about my racial background because of the total overall impact of the Bible and the Gospels and the Quran and the synagogue and the various ideas. I now sit here and I have a good self-esteem as someone with that racial background. Without what? Without going through necessarily a Jewish, reading Middle Eastern literature, or going to a Jewish private school, or going to a Christian church all my life. Without necessarily doing it, they did such a good job that I sit here with a good self-esteem as someone with that racial background. And that's why I'm working with Virtual Reality Church to some extent, and I think it's important to continue doing our homework here. So let's go back to the text. So we have here Barna Research Group. The Cyber Church is a coming national survey of teenagers shows expectations of substituting internet for a corner church. I myself probably would check it out, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on a lot of things, because some ideas like the Eucharist are very challenging to me. And when you're Jewish, sometimes the crucifixion is a problem. So there are a lot of challenging ideas. The circumcision might be challenging to you when you consider Judaism. Kneeling down and praying 5 times a day might be challenging to you as a Muslim. There are, in fact, some challenging ideas, experiences, and practices in the Judeo-Christian Muslim experiences. It's almost as if it were intentional. But let's say what it says here. But in the case of internet, web, and net, a change in our house style was necessary to put into perspective what the internet is, another medium for delivering and receiving information. That it transformed human communication is beyond dispute, but no more so than movement, both type did in its day, or the radio or television, just the internet. So to be honest with you, Wikipedia is a great source of information about biblical topics if you need some information. It's kind of hard to believe that you couldn't do your high school paper or whatever using the internet on a religious topic. Interview with Tim Hutchings, Assistant Professor of Religious Ethics at the University of Nottingham. Again, we have a professor, someone who didn't necessarily study divinity theology for 3 years in order to become a priest, but who did study for 4 to 10 years to become a professor after studying for 4 years. The Archbishop's Council on Mission and Public Affairs, Mission-Shaped Church, Church Planting and Fresh Expressions of Church in a Changing Context. That was published by Church House Publishing. And here's what I would like to do at this point. I have the Epic Bible. I would like to share it with you. And I would like to see if you agree with me that it's probably one of the best Bibles produced. It's basically a DC Comics level, Marvel comic level quality work. 1 second, let me go get it. And then we're going to be done for today. So this is the Epic Bible, and it's a comic book. And I think it's awesome. So here is page 398. I have it positioned so that I could stand and look at the river and read it. I've already learned a couple of things from this particular, and one of them is actually very, very concerning from a virtual reality perspective. Now, according to Jesus Christ in the Epic Bible, virtual reality might have problems as an industry if the eye irritation associated with the PlayStation VR experience becomes a severe bad eye experience. According to Jesus Christ, in the Epic Bible, when his eyes are tearing, when he's crying, the tree might not bear fruit. So to the way I understood that from a virtual reality point of view, and this is a very important point, to the extent in which virtual reality produces bad symptoms like either eye irritation associated with the PlayStation VR experience, possibly because the lenses are not adjustable. But if it becomes more severe, like catastrophic, like to the point of blindness even, then Jesus will not support virtual reality as an experience. So according to the Epic Bible, the virtual reality industry will have problems if there are severely bad experiences associated with VR porn, for example, with PlayStation VR, for example. On the one hand, or the other hand, to the extent in which there's a severe reaction to VR porn, and to the extent in which there's eye irritation, Abbott Bible thinks that the virtual reality industry will not become successful. And so that's pretty much what I learned from the Epic Bible. I also learned that that $69 billion Microsoft deal for Candy Crush Saga, Call of Duty, and World of Warcraft providing support for that, even though Moses had a problem with it, could result in three white people emerging unscathed from literal fire. So it's a different perspective. It's called, that would be than the Jesus Christ perspective. So these are a couple of major ideas that I got from reading the Epic Bible. And some of it actually can be applied to the video game and virtual reality industry. Thank you very much. This is Mike J. Dubensky. I hold a master's degree in library and information science and a bachelor's degree from a Great Books College.